All right, Rachel. PG-13. PG-13.
Rachel, you said that every time. It's PG. Come
What?
on. We're rolling.
Okay. Hello, everyone. You were listening to Moody&D Gone Rogue. Here we discuss gameplay strategies, reasoning with the Moody&D cast. This week we are discussing episodes 12 and 13 with the cast. And right now I'm have everyone roll initiative so we can introduce ourselves in that order and have a set order for questions. So go for it.
Who needs dice? I have dice.
I do.
I have online dice.
Oh, shiny dice.
Ooh,
Okay.
Here, do you want a real dice?
Nah.
Okay.
I'll
Did you just reroll your
suffer.
initiative?
It fell off the table.
You don't have advantage on initiative.
It fell off the table.
Right now.
16.
I am the DM though. And
Also-
roll
I have a
initiative.
2.
Also, reason with the cast, that's a little much said.
Whether we have reasons or not is entirely up to question. Okay, so
I have a 2. Who else? What's
well,
everyone have?
here's how we do it on the show. 25 to 20.
What?
16.
25 to
25.
20.
How would you... No.
We're off
Excuse
to
me,
an excellent
excuse me. Which of us has a modifier to go over 20,
We're
my
not
sir?
doing modifiers.
I definitely
It's
have a
just
plus
straight
5 modifier.
number.
Not mods.
I definitely have a plus
Let it
5
not
mod.
be said that Moody Bible Institute is a math school.
Oh my gosh.
Math class.
Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
20 to 15.
18.
18.
16.
Oh.
Oh dear.
Rollies?
Okay. Yeah, you
no,
guys gotta...
shared initiative.
No, they got a rollies.
10.
13.
Darn it.
Okay, so it's Prof. Matt, Kent, then you and I
Okay.
got our rollies, and then Rachel, you're going last.
I got 2.
I got it.
You roll. Okay.
Yep.
19.
18. Oh my
Oh.
Okay, so we got Prof. Matt, Kent, me, Christian,
gosh. And
and then Rachel
her.
at the end with the 2. All right.
Also, Kent is with us. Woo!
Yes.
Yes.
We finally have Kent in here. It's been so long since he's
figured
been
it
part of
out.
the cast, and we finally get him here.
All right. Let's go.
Can't wait to discuss these.
So,
Cool. So I'm going first?
Yeah.
yes.
Oh my
And then
goodness.
name the episode your questions from, just so that we have a reference.
Perfect. This is from
sorry.
episode 12. Also, hi everyone. It's Prof Mac. I play Audra. Most people should know this. So many questions for you, Kent.
Oh no.
I'm gonna kind of blend it into one. What was it like coming into an established show as a new character with a messy party? / how did you feel knowing you were probably gonna have to create a new character 5 minutes into the show?
Coming into the new show, I don't know, because I knew you and I knew Reese, so it was like, was it really people? You were not a part of the show when I came in. Do not look at me like that, Rachel.
He's right.
I didn't know you.
Christian was the only one I didn't know, and I was ready to do it because I knew 2 of you. I was also like, what is this? What is going to happen? Because it ended on such a weird note, and obviously Klaus wasn't there, so I was like, oh, that takes out half the problem. That lasted a while. So that was fun, and then 5 minutes in, I just remember being like, cool, that was a lot of hit points, and I'm a sorcerer warlock build who looks strong but has no hit points.
That is honestly the funniest thing about Bran.
It was...
He looks like he's supposed to be the tank. He
Yeah.
walks around with a warhammer.
is not the tank at all.
Has less strength than the 4-foot lizard.
Literally.
Honestly, the party strength dynamics are the funniest thing.
It's so
and you're a blacksmith,
And
too.
I'm like, well, blacksmiths can be commoners and all they need is a strength of 10. So,
That's true. Typically,
That's not
I would
saying
give a
much.
blacksmith commoner a strength of at least 12.
yes, I know, shush. I use the power of wild magic.
There it is.
And you created a sentient hammer that wants chaos.
Yeah.
Tor's my favorite.
Tor's great.
Tor's something
He
else.
beat Klaus.
I really want Tor and Klaus to be friends.
Of the NPCs that exist, like, the top, 3 in this show, in my opinion, are probably, my favorites are Tor, easily top of the list. Vitoka is number 2. And then I think Rashik is my third one. But Tor is always top of my list. He is just the embodiment of chaos, and I love him so much.
Okay, funny side note. I definitely have a question of Reese. How much do you love playing Tor? Because just re-listening, it's like the pure joy that comes out of you.
It is my favorite thing in the world.
Yep.
When he told me he wanted to be a Hexblade Warlock and then also wanted to be a Wild Magic Sorcerer, I was like, I know exactly how this will work. And then he said he wanted to be a Wild Magic Sorcerer who was a lawful neutral character, and I was like, you need some chaotic neutral in your life to balance that out. And so thus was born Tor. And so it's one of the few, you don't see this enough, I think, is Hexblade Warlocks that actually have sentient weapons.
I know, right?
It's fun.
It's like their whole gimmick.
It's the whole gimmick of the Hexblade, and they never have it. And so I was like, this is I actually feel comfortable giving you a wild magic Hexblade because it makes sense. So yeah.
And honestly, especially with the last episodes that we recorded.
Oh my word.
Oh my gosh.
Guys, when they come out.
So those are episodes 28 and 29, and those will be coming out in October.
Yep.
First one airs hits the internet.
So wait, will
October-
this air before the
Yes.
first? Oh my gosh.
Yes, it
Interesting.
Guys,
It
when that
will.
episode comes out, it was absolutely hilarious.
In my opinion, the
Something
two
else.
best episodes we've recorded so
Honestly.
far.
I agree. Anyway,
That was my question.
Yeah. All right, for Christian, what was the inspiration for Kizak? Like, you had a good backstory
Yes,
for Klaus,
yes.
but where the heck did Kizak come from?
Honestly,
beautiful.
so
He's too calm.
I love Kizak. Kizak is probably Kizak and Klaus are very close, like my favorites in this entire show. So that summer, in between Arc 1 and Arc 2, the entire summer I was pondering the question: do I want Klaus to come back?
You mean winter?
Winter. It was winter.
Sorry, yes, winter.
Summer was in between 2 and 3.
And I think like a week before we were supposed to be recording, I finally decided that I was gonna have Klaus come back. And so I talked to Reese, and Reese said okay, but then for the one shot that we were going to be doing with Kent, you need a character. And I don't know why, I was looking at different classes and I was like, I've never played an Artificer. I really want to do an Artificer. And at that moment exactly, I thought to myself, what if I just play a really nerdy Artificer that can't talk? Because I didn't want to do another Klaus who's super charismatic. I wanted to do the opposite. Someone who is not charismatic at all. So I rolled all his stats, got him 7 in charisma, and I went from there. And honestly, I love Kizak because Kizak made me fall in love with the Artificer. The Artificer is my absolutely favorite class.
There's I think the longer you play D&D, you usually have a character that helps you fall in love with a class. And it's honestly the most bizarre and unique experience to be like, I hated this class before, I played this character, and now it's my favorite class. Because I was that with Wizard. Like, Wizards are great, but I had originally thought, they're okay. And then I played one, and I never want to play anything else again.
My party that I DM for, whenever we have a one-shot, they always make fun of me because any NPC they encounter, any character I play, will usually be an Artificer, and I always make them bust it. Not because I'm trying to.
It's
just,
easy with Artificers.
It's very easy with them because they have so many abilities, so many things. It's not difficult to, like, at level 11, have them deal an average of 40, 50 damage a turn.
Yeah. And people talk down to them, but honestly, they're one of the best. Like, they're great at buffing. Like, you want a class that's survivable. Like, there are 3 classes that I think are the best for survivability. Come on, Rachel. Come on.
We have a phones off rule.
Come on.
Exactly. They never go off when we're recording.
Never
so not
once.
true.
Said the one who usually has his phone ringing.
Oh my
Do you usually cut all that out? The phones?
I can't.
Yeah,
There's
so-
the one where he wasn't able to cut it
Okay.
out.
Yeah, that was Christian.
Cut out that one.
It's always
But-
Christian.
But yeah, the Artificer is actually a wonderful class for, I think, buffing. Like, survivability. So, like, it's Artificer, Monk, and Paladin, in my opinion, are the 3 best for buffing, because the Paladins get to add their Charisma to every single save.
Amazing.
The Monks get proficiency in every single save once they reach level 14, and the Artificers are just survivable in general, but then once they reach, I think it's level... It's crazy high up there. I think it's like their capstone ability, but they get a plus to all of their saves equal to the number of items they're attuned to.
Which at that point is usually 5.
It's either 5 or 6.
It's 5.
And so
no, 6, yeah.
It is 6. Wow. And so it's like you get a plus 6 to
and they
everything.
can't go unconscious because all they have to do at level 20 is just
end one of their
end
infusions.
attunement. And when they fall unconscious, they don't fall unconscious.
Yep.
The Artificers are amazing, and they only have like 4 subclasses, which is the greatest thing of all. They're super customizable, and then you have like Clerics, where pretty much every other cleric feels the same, and they have like 15 million subclasses. Yep. So yeah, that's my answer. Kizak was my nerdy dream of playing a really uncharismatic character, and also just a red herring.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what a red herring he was.
Okay.
Alrighty, Christian.
I thought I was next.
Reese.
Oh, sorry, Reese.
How dare you steal my turn from me?
I was just gonna switch you two.
Okay. I grabbed a quote from the episode.
Oh no.
Because I thought it was hilarious. This is Surak saying, "We don't just kill people. Maybe." Andra, this was sent to you.
Oh, that was beautiful.
These episodes we've just listened to, Adra was so bloodthirsty.
Oh my word.
No!
Yes.
Yes.
She was offensive!
I wasn't even there. I was listening to it, and I was like, "Dear
Her
Lord."
initial instinct with Brand was just murder, and then Klaus comes back, and I didn't count, but I think you say that you want to kill him like
You put
5
a
or
knife
6
to his
times.
throat.
I mean, that's
Yeah,
what Hammer
I mean-
said, so...
I mean,
This was regarding Bran.
yes.
We don't just kill people, maybe. where it was, I just remember in the moment thinking, how is Audra this bloodthirsty? This person randomly showed up, is very clearly not attacking, and
He has a hammer.
you attacked. He seemed to be attacking initially, and then and I was very clear when I said he is not moving to attack several times, insinuating that you were safe, and not one of those times did you stop attacking him. What the heck was going on?
Yeah.
So here's the deal. Audra has very extreme trust issues.
Uh-huh.
You have to look
Wait,
past.
really?
I know, right?
What?
And she
Shocking.
was only like a year into her anger management classes.
Exactly.
Only a year.
Only a year. And it felt like this is kind of how I interpret it as Audra in the moment. It's all stemming from Klaus. And
Right.
so at this point,
You're
leadership
welcome.
had, yeah, I know, right? Leadership had like allowed Klaus to come in and said that he was safe, he was good, whatever. And then in Audra's mind, she was like, he destroyed everything. So stealing from Klaus's book, Bran hadn't done anything to necessarily prove to Audra that he was trustworthy. Because the minute they subdued him, all of a sudden his little animal bites through the binds and he tries to do something magical. They don't know who this guy, he comes through magical portal with a hammer. Nah, she wasn't gonna risk it at all. Period. The end.
That's fair. I do think the one difference is the leadership never fully trusted Klaus.
I guess, but in her mind, they did. But again,
That's
we've
up to
talked.
Audra's
We've
mind,
talked
though.
about we've talked about how she clearly doesn't know her own anger, and so she just deflects
yeah.
and blames everyone.
Yeah, no,
so it
completely.
was, yeah. So it also definitely didn't mean for it to go that far. Literally,
It was
all I was trying to
hilarious.
do was.
You knocked him unconscious
All
twice.
No, didn't
Twice.
Kizak do it both
Kizak
times?
did it both
Both
times.
Kizak did
times.
it both times, but here's the thing.
It wasn't Kizak, it was Shiny.
Okay, shiny. But here's the deal. All I was trying to do was cast friends. But before I could get that word out, Kizak was like, oh, Shiny does X, Y, and Z, and then it would knock Bran out. And so she was like, well, cool. Like,
Problem solved.
Well, I'm pretty sure you threw a dagger at him
Yeah.
first.
You hit me with a dagger first.
You-
and
Yes.
You did sneak attack him.
because you ran through a portal about to attack. I feel like this is a natural response. I don't know what the big deal.
Yeah, no. Every time someone walks through the door of my house, I just throw knives at them.
Next time
Listen.
you write it over,
I'm
am
so
going to
sorry
wear
for your
bubble wrap.
wife, Christian.
I know, right? If
Ah,
somebody
she's gotten
comes
good
through,
at dodging.
Oh, okay.
if somebody comes through running and screaming like they're gonna attack, I'm just saying.
Oh.
The last
You
magic
knocked
user
him
that
unconscious and tied him up, though. And when he did come to consciousness, he wasn't actively doing anything.
I know.
I will
There's
say
no.
my use of trying to cast Armor of Agathis
That
was
was
a little
dumb.
But or was it False Life? It was one of the two.
It
I
was
trying to
some,
get some
you
hit
were
points.
doing something magical after having just gotten your binds broken.
Yeah.
And then you knocked him unconscious again, and then you started with Armor of Agathis, and then you moved to False Light.
It
Yep.
was that.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
I
forgot.
All I have to say is in Audra's mind, it was completely logical, and everyone else was being illogical in that moment.
Isn't that everything that
Why
I
look at me?
Well, here's the thing.
Shiny was totally on your side.
I think your response is logical. If it weren't for the fact that there was an adult in the room being like, can we slow down a little
There
bit?
were two adults in the room. One of them was tied up and unconscious.
Wait, what? Isn't she considered an adult?
No,
She's a
she's 15.
Lizard
She's
folk
16.
reach adulthood at 15,
Well,
according to the
they
like.
reach physical adulthood. That doesn't mean they reach mental adulthood.
It's
What's it
like
say about
it's
me?
like college students, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
You're an adult, but you're not an adult.
exactly.
Thanks.
very
Welcome.
true.
I was. Have you been looking at him?
We've told
Anyways,
you, we're practically
I don't know if
the
I
same
answered your
person
question,
sometimes.
but there you go.
No, I just wanted to bring it up because I thought it was funny.
Oh.
I was re-listening to that and I was like, wow, wow, wow.
It went from 0
To
to 100 in
So
a
fast.
split second. I'll remind you guys that a round of combat is 6 seconds long. You knocked him unconscious, revived him, and knocked him unconscious again, and revived him once more in about 18 seconds.
Yeah,
It
was
was
a lot.
so
it was
incredibly
pure
much.
chaos.
It was
I
so
loved it.
incredibly
There
much.
was a little bit of time between one revival and the
I was gonna
second
say because it took a bit of a conversation to get
Yeah.
through the
Ah!
rest.
true.
So it was probably like a minute, but
It's mine now.
It's still a very intense minute. Though.
yeah,
Thanks.
yeah.
Alrighty,
It
on
was
that
like-
note, we're gonna move to this one.
Question. Question. is my
Question.
Question.
Questions.
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 That was gonna throw me off. I was like, we're just gonna say this one.
name. I have two questions. One for Kent, one for Prof Mac. But I guess since you just had a question, I'll have to ask.
Okay,
Oh
fine.
boy.
Actually, no, never mind. Because it's about the interaction. I feel like we've already.
Okay.
Yeah,
We've
yeah.
already talked about
Yeah,
that enough.
cool.
I am very curious about Adrak because in the year that preceding
Uh-huh.
after Ima's death, you did mention that she went out to explore Zatar Isle.
Mhm.
I'm very curious. Why did she do it? What was the purpose? And what did you want her to do or achieve? Obviously, I'm guessing you don't want to explain too much, but just kind of in general, what was the purpose and what was she trying to achieve?
I mean, I feel like I can share a good bit in the sense of she just needed to get away. I think it was the reality of feeling like she'd been lied to a lot by the leadership of knowing who Kazarash was and all of this stuff. And then, again, being young, not knowing how to deal with her emotions, and the death of Ima. But really when the end of campaign 1 or arc 1, when Klaus was like, you know nothing of the world, you know nothing of how it. So it was her opportunity of like, this will never happen again.
Mm-hmm.
This will never, and I think
Yeah.
it's not going to come out to October, but even in the last 2 episodes we just recorded, 29 of Audra being like, I'm never going to not be good enough again.
Mhm.
That this will not be an excuse. And so that's why she went out, of just to say, I've been a part of the world. I think in a way to maybe try and understand Klaus, but also prove him wrong of like, the world isn't that bad. There's no excuse for you to behave the way that you did.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say like with her experience of what happened, she's right in that way, which I think has also led to like her reactions to Klaus of like she's never experienced the hardship that Klaus has gone through, even when she experienced the real world. So in her mind, it's like it makes zero sense.
Because I was gonna say, when you went out, you found a nice little peaceful group of druids.
Right,
Like you
right.
found a.
So you basically stumbled upon a pack of hippies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She
Yes.
walked in the
I-
temple and walked into Woodstock.
How
just
long was
right
she in
outside the
Woodstock? A
fog.
couple months? How
Yeah.
long were you gone?
I think we said 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it took her a month to get back through the fog.
This-
And I think too,
This
well,
is Moody&D. I'm just gonna keep it at that.
Oh my word.
Christian,
Oh, this is why we can't have nice things, Christian.
we have nice things.
We have a lot of nice things.
Moving on to Prof Mac answering the
Sorry,
question.
yes.
yeah, no. Sorry, my brain was doing something else. I missed all of that completely.
It's okay, don't worry.
Also, I feel like I say this. She's also looking for her uncle, who went into the mist and disappeared.
I think you mentioned that in one of the more recent episodes.
Thank you.
Yes, maybe.
Actually, I think
Was it 28 and 29 again
I don't think it was 28 and 29. Actually, I think it was one of the ones we listened to
for this?
for this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it might be
No,
somewhere
I
in
think
12.
you mentioned that, yeah.
It's somewhere in 12 or 13,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
But you mentioned that yes.
Looking for.
Yeah, you were
uncle.
looking for
Yeah, yeah.
uncle.
Yeah. So
Yep. That's cool.
Nice. Well, we got to my questions, but everyone's asked my questions.
you don't have any more for 12?
No, because they literally, the first question was my second question, and he just asked my next one.
Hey.
Huh?
That
So-
just means great minds think alike.
Yeah.
That just means I
Or college
rolled
students
poorly.
have very little brain power to think.
Hey, whoa, we're not
No,
attacking
no, no,
anyone's
no.
intelligence.
College student to college student, there's no brain power left.
We're
I
only
got
in the
plenty
second
of
week
brain
of
power.
school,
Need you
yo.
to see what I do?
I got something.
Alrighty, we're just gonna move to episode 13.
Oh, I have another question for episode
I have
12.
another question for
You
episode
already
12.
wait. You should have asked it.
I have.
We're not
I
asking-
had two questions.
We haven't been asking all the questions.
I know, but we have to go back in order to ask the second question.
Yeah.
So, Prof. Matt.
I mean, I just want to know Reese's opinion on the whole attack on, because I feel like we got a little bit of
covered
rants
your
already.
It
reaction.
was so unnecessarily violent. Like, you guys, when I say you went from 0 to 100 in half a second, you went from 0 to 100. He showed up. You threw a dagger at him, dealt sneak attack damage, which would kill most normal people. Then Shiny blasted him with arcane energy out of a little turret that came out of the perfectly round sphere. And then he fell unconscious, as a person would normally do if they get hit with that much damage. Surak immediately said, "Stop it!" and then healed him. And then neither of you you stopped a little. You left Shiny just running.
Cause I mean,
Why not?
Kizak.
It was-
like we said. Kizak put some special juice into Shiny that day, and Shiny wasn't cooperating
Yes.
as well.
Didn't need to be as destructive as it
But
That's fair.
But in our defense, wasn't that just the correct way to greet a new party member, according to our party?
I mean, to be fair. But here's also a question I had. In how you set up Brand's entrance, did you
Yeah.
expect anything less?
Honestly, here's the thing.
That's a yes.
Here's what I expected. I didn't expect a ton less. I didn't expect him to go unconscious twice.
That's fair.
Because
Okay.
here's the thing. I've done party intros like this, where people appear out of portals, because that's a normal thing that happens in my world, where people will just appear
Right.
out of a portal. That happened in another party, and the party's immediate reaction was to throw a halberd in his stomach. Like, that is fully... you guys are not the only people who have
That's
done
reasonable.
this. However, they didn't
where halberds
knock him
go.
Yeah.
unconscious, and after they realized that he was a humanoid who was not coming to harm them, they healed him and left him alone. They didn't proceed to knock him unconscious a second time.
You're welcome,
She's
kid.
an angsty teenager. It's okay.
So I was expecting...
Again, it was shiny.
So I was expecting...
But we're gonna choose to blame Audra.
I know,
for it.
100%.
She was kind of the muscle
Instigator.
of the instigator of the operation.
It's okay. I'm a natural
Listen,
instigator.
'cause
Instigated. And
just
then
because
protect her,
because you didn't actually shoot Bran doesn't mean you weren't the one who was encouraging the shooting of Bran.
I feel like that
That's
should be
true.
taken
Guilty.
out.
Guilty by vicarious nature.
Yeah, no. So I would say
Guilty by association.
I
Yeah, pretty much.
expected something. I did
Just-
not expect that much. Nor did I expect Surak, the adult in the room, who was in charge of you, and you were respectful at least to an extent.
Yeah.
To say stop, and then it didn't stop. Hence the reason Surak threatened to permanently dispel Shiny.
Yeah.
Because you're an artificer. The homunculus belongs to you and follows your direct commands. It shouldn't be out of control.
That is
And it
very
was.
true.
And so he was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Oh my.
It was the I'm gonna die surrounded by children thing. That
Love it.
I know Reese wouldn't have allowed it, but it was very unlikely to happen. But how hilarious would it be if he introduces your character?
And then I died.
Then you just die.
oh my word.
That would have been so
well,
funny.
so that's part of the reason Surak was there.
Yep.
It was not just to keep him
He was
alive.
insurance.
Surak was just kind of there in general. But then when you started killing, I was like, oh, artificers have cure wounds on their spell list, and so absolutely that is being prepped and held ready.
Ready to go.
Yep.
Because of course people are going to die when those two are involved.
By the way, I just
go.
want to point out that I'm fully interpreting that as Prof Mac and Christian and not Audra and
Oh,
Kazak.
that's
Yeah,
completely
100%.
fair.
Kazak is an impressionable young man, and Shiny has a mind of his own.
Total side
Oh,
note, the
no.
conversation about what constituted as a playground for the lizard
Oh, my
folk
word.
was so funny the second go
Oh
around of
my
listening.
gosh. I
Shouldn't have-
sat there listening again. I'm just like, I completely forgot that was like 10 minutes of the episode.
Oh my word, it went way too long.
It
was
was
hilarious.
There was
Anyway.
me last night going
It was
10
it
seconds,
was
10
very
seconds, 10
important.
seconds.
Anyway,
It's very important.
next question, because otherwise we're gonna run out
Yep.
of time.
Oh yeah, gosh. Okay.
Can't be on top of it.
Yeah, shush. Okay. What was, because I wasn't obviously there before, what was Surak's reaction to Aima's death? Like, how was he grieving?
Okay.
Because we haven't really heard about anybody but Audra's grief process, and
Yeah.
Klaus, if Klaus has feelings. So,
Yeah.
Does he?
So
We don't know.
even Christian doesn't know. No. So Surak didn't grieve too visibly. Surak he thinks of himself as a mind. Like that is like if you could think of like what does he philosophically believe is the metaphysical makeup of his own being? Brain. That's like he believes intellect. Like emotions are an element, but he does not engage that. He does not believe that that is actually a legitimate part of his makeup, and so he did not grieve much. Also, from a metaphysical sense, Audra, you would have known this. Surak, he did view Aima as a legitimate humanoid with a soul. However, he also had difficulty reconciling the existence of a soul within a Warforged that was created from a heart that was from another organic being placed into an inorganic being. And so there was part of Surak that became attached to him, and then another part of him that was very able to let him go when he died.
Okay.
So that's kind of...
Rachel, we should
Yeah.
ask your boss, like, what philosopher Surak sounds like.
I think my boss just thinks we're a bunch of nerds and will just roll his eyes.
That makes sense.
Sounds about right.
So yeah, that's what Surak didn't really grieve. That wasn't part of Surak's process. So
What about the rest of the lizard folk then? Like, what, like, again, I've only seen Audra's, which obviously
Yeah.
isn't going
Like
well.
what was the general attachment towards
Yeah.
Aima?
I mean, everybody was attached to Aima
Right.
in some way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well, he was the kind, friendly giant. Or whatever.
yes, precisely. People liked him, especially the children. But I mean, when you live in a colony as close as close personally as the lizard folk of Kaizo are, death hits the community very heavy, but it's not uncommon that death hits the community. Because everybody knows everybody. And so when it does, everybody takes it, it's a difficult time for everybody, but everybody knows how to handle it because it happens on a, like, you know, it might happen every couple years, but if known death of family and friends is a common thing growing up, you get used to that. Eventually you learn how to grieve.
Right,
and
because
so,
lizard folk only live till 60, so like...
Right, precisely. And so they have a relatively quick life turnover rate, but then it's also, everybody knows when someone dies because everybody knew everybody. So, yeah.
Interesting.
Alrighty, next question.
Yes. I think I'm going to move us to 13 because we're going to run out of time. Let's see.
Our move.
Okay. Audra
Yes.
was incredibly snarky to Bran for the entirety of the everything.
Yes. Yes.
Obviously, this has something to do with her distrust of outsiders because of Klaus, but do you think it has more to do with the fact that she was distrustful, or more to do with the fact that she was shown up and Bran was treated like an adult?
The silence.
Because I like, in listening to the episode, I was like, I couldn't tell entirely. Like, in the moment, I thought it was just because of Klaus, but listening to the episode, I was like, I wonder if the fact that, like, because Surak did immediately, like you said, he immediately looked at Bran and was like, okay, we're not going to kill him immediately. We're going to trust him, and almost overrode your decision.
Yeah.
And basically, and on top of that, you know, there were several occasions where Bran did prove to be just slightly more adept at whatever you were doing. And so...
Yeah, I kind of took it as a perspective of, like, being distrustful from Klaus, and also Audra trying this, like, new personality of trying to be a bit snarky and cool and
Edgy.
and yeah, like edgy, like, you know, I explored the world again. She, like, feels like she knows what the world is about now, and so
that was less of a momentary thing and more like a
right.
She was just growing into the rogue archetype of being an edgelord.
She was like that freshman after one semester who thinks they know what the world is, but also has no idea what the world is.
Yeah. Or just, like, you know, you try, I think sometimes we, or maybe this is just me, I will speak for me, and this is, like, gotten infused into Audra, but, like, you have a moment where you're like, I'm going to be a different person. I'm going to, like, I have this opportunity to reinvent myself, and so you try, and you're able to, like, hold out for a little bit, and then your real personality starts peeking through. And so for Audra, it was like, I went out, I explored the world, I've got this new chip on my shoulder, but, like, I'm gonna be calm, cool, and collected. But it's just, like, moments of Audra continue to poke through. Gotcha. And so even in, like, trying to come up with a nickname and be, like, snarky or whatever, and it just, like, it's not working for her. Like,
you can't beat a nickname like Fleshbag. It just
no.
It just rolls off the tongue so well.
Yeah.
But it does make me wonder, why did you decide to, like, call Kizak Nerd Brain? Because, like, the distrust towards Bran I get. Why Kizak though? The poor kid has no friends.
I'm curious,
Exactly.
was that a superiority play?
emotional trauma.
No, I think okay, it's a two-parter. Okay. One, again, this new persona of Audra trying to, like, be cool.
Yes.
And in her mind, it was an endearing term of, like, like.
I mean, yeah,
brain, like,
totally,
like, not in a bad way.
Oh yes, call the smart kid who's been bullied his entire life nerd brain.
Yeah, that's gonna work well.
How endearing.
I mean,
I know, but, like,
he doesn't take it, like, a wrong way, because he's just been called names his entire life. He's like, okay, I guess this is just what
another
it is.
one. Yeah.
I'm
Again,
nerd
trying to
brain
be
now.
cool persona. Also, the reality of the name Nerd Brain is that I am not quick-witted. And
Okay.
so it was the
The
first,
only thing.
like, I think I called you, like, tall Bran or something like that, because
Yeah, I think so.
me, Rachel, not quick-witted enough to, like, come up with Fleshbag or something like that. So I was like, man.
I can't take credit for Fleshback. I heard it somewhere and I just loved it.
It
Yeah.
was definitely Vampire
It was.
Diaries.
I'm pretty sure it was Vampire
We've
Diaries.
talked
I love
about
that.
this on
Yeah, yeah.
on
Yeah,
previous
so-
episodes
So that's where
of
Nerd
John
Brain
Rogue, so-
and the attempt at snarkiness. I always wish I were quick-witted, but, you know. I think it makes for good comedy.
Yeah,
It
no,
was good.
100%. Christian.
That I'm gonna count that as my question for
Oh, okay.
episode 13 because I don't have any.
Okay, cool.
I have one for 13. It's for Tor / Kent / Reese.
Oh, okay.
What is the root of this like object / character's chaos? Reese plays him, but he goes with Bran. How does this character kind of reflect Kent? Because you're new to this like series and this series, just giving our like listeners to get a chance to like know who you are and like follow the theory of like that
So-
Reese has. Sorry,
So, no, you're good.
that whatever character you play or create, it's either you trying to like let your alter ego out or it's like a vomit of who you
Yeah, so
actually
a
are.
reflection, exaggeration, or projection.
I like
Yeah.
vomit more.
It's a vomit of you,
Oh
yes.
my gosh. I mean, Tor, it's like I think Tor and Bran are like the two different sides of me in a way, of
Yes.
sheer chaos and somebody who hates disorder. Kind
Yes.
of like, I have two warring sides in me in a way. And so I just decided to
wolves.
make that a literal character. So
Yeah.
Bran hates chaos with
Yes.
everything that is in him.
So he
Yeah.
hates Rachel. This one.
Probably yes, actually. Or would find you extremely annoying.
I find myself extremely annoying. Don't worry.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
What? What is going on here?
Wow. We are
So-
off the rails.
So it
What
was
is
just
going on here?
like Reese and I were, and mind you, this is probably late
goodness.
October, early November that
Yeah.
we started game planning who Bran would
Yeah,
be.
because I kind of
Like-
already knew. Well, it wasn't. It would have been late November, early December, I think. Because I didn't ask you if you wanted to consider being on the show until we were like nearing Ima's death. as
That's
far as
true.
recording goes.
No, you're right.
We just became friends. Aww.
But
He ignores it.
so we were doing character creation a little bit just because I was pretty sure that I wanted him to join the cast, and like you guys hadn't posed, and I mentioned it prior to Sam leaving, and so and nobody had brought anything else up, and so we started doing some character creation. And it was in the character creation process that you were like, I want to make a lawful, neutral, wild magic sorcerer who hates the fact that he's a wild magic sorcerer.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
there's a lot more that plays into that. We'll probably talk about later,
But
like
that-
in other
yeah.
episodes. But like that was
Once
a
you
huge
find out a
motivator.
little more about
Yeah,
Yeah.
Who he is.
Bran.
yeah.
Yeah, so that was the big motivation, and then he said he also wanted to multi-class in the Hexblade because you also wanted to do the coffee lock build,
Yes.
which is the one where you don't ever have to sleep, because you can technically because you can do short rests as a warlock to regain your warlock spell slots, and then take your warlock spell slots and convert them into sorcery points to make more spell slots, and then short rest again, and just keep doing that to get infinite spell slots. And
However, Reese plays with points of exhaustion, so the coffee lock is a little bit less potent, but I did go into our final battle of Arc 2 with 9 spell slots or
Yeah,
something like
you had a lot.
that.
Yeah, it was amazing.
It was awesome.
but
I don't think this episode's gonna come out before.
no,
After?
yeah, this is far after.
Yeah.
Okay.
The episode he's talking about
We're
aired
already
in
after.
June.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we're good.
Oh yeah,
No,
yeah.
we're-
You guys have heard of
Yeah,
that.
no, they've heard it all.
Making sure.
But yeah, no, I know our timeline. But so when he built that and he was like, "I want to be a hexblade," I was like, "Okay." And then I remembered that hexblades are centered around sentient weapons. I was like, "Okay, here's what happened. One day while you were forging, you wild magic surged, and wild magic was imbued into an object with sentience,
Yes.
and thus was born Tor, who is a chaotic neutral embodiment of wild magic."
So my Hexblade's patron is literally a wild magic hammer.
Yes, it's you are both a wild magic sorcerer and a warlock of wild magic itself.
Yep.
And so that's why he's surging all the time.
Yeah.
Which
But like that
is
was
amazing.
part of it is that Bran, because he hates chaos, refused to, like, he would literally hold it in, and he held it in so much that he created a sentient weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the things that I changed about
That
wild
is
magic rules.
amazing. I love that concept.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that I changed about Wild Magic rules. Is one of the things I hate is that the number is always natural 1.
Mm-hmm.
It never and so
Which makes no sense for wild magic, which is chaotic and like everywhere kind
And
of
wants
thing.
to surge.
Right, yeah, exactly.
And so the way that I've done it is every single time that you long rest, if you haven't wild magic surged, your number increases by 1. And so like it's 1 the first day. If you wild magic surge, and when you take a long rest, the number increases to 2. And then if you wild magic surge the next day, it resets back to 1. But if you don't, and that's
It goes up to
specifically
3.
and that's specifically for rolling the number. Like if you wild magic surge and don't roll the number for any other reason, which he's done before, then the number goes up. And so your number is at like what, 6 now?
Yes, it's 6 now, because they'll have heard.
Yep.
Yeah. So after the first episodes of
Yep.
Arc 3, it's 6.
Yeah.
But
And so like
And Tor's on like 7, isn't he?
Tor's counter is at 7.
and Tor's thing is Tor is a wild magic. He's a wild magic weapon that whenever a wild magic surge happens within 15 feet of him, he gains a counter. If he has 5 or more counters, the next attack made with him causes a wild magic surge targeting the creature that it hits if it needs a target, and if it refers to self, then it happens to Bran. And so
I can wild magic surge when I cast a spell. I can wild magic surge when I use Tides of Chaos, which Reese always makes me do, which is fun.
Right.
And Tor wild magic surges pretty consistently. And so the character who hates chaos, his entire life is chaos, which is why...
And then he gets dropped into this party.
Right, exactly. Which is why he loved the temple, because they were ordered. He never used magic all that much, and he didn't have Tor out all the time.
Yep.
So Tor was just like his hidden, like ADHD, hyperactive, hidden away.
Pretty
Well,
well. No, because
Wild
Tor is like a
wild-
different
yes,
person,
he's,
kind of.
Yes, he is a separate entity. Tor is not a split off of Bran's personality. He is literally a separate sentience.
Yeah.
That is like this is like way back their lore stuff that we're never actually going to get into just because of the nature of the arc that we're in right now. But Tor is actually currently the singular manifestation in a sentient form of wild magic.
Oh, wow.
Which is what gives him the ability to actually grant Bran capabilities as a hexblade sorcerer. Is hence, like, prior to Bran doing that, there was never an embodiment of wild magic in a sentient form. Bran is the person who holds that now. And so that's
I
what
think you're
Tor
gonna get
is.
hunted. Do other people know about this?
Maybe some gang leaders.
What
on my
chaos are you
hometown,
bringing into
actually.
our lives?
On the
Are we gonna come back and the temple's gonna be destroyed because Bran's last known whereabouts? Oh my gosh, Bran.
I don't know.
Who knows what happens to the temple?
I know. Listen. We're not on those
So
episodes
the-
yet,
the
but I'm
only-
so mad that
The only people who know about Tor are pretty much a bunch of gangsters on an island called Verdal, because Bran was hunting a specific gang leader,
Gangsta.
and that's where he...
The gang leader that you
Searched
were
her.
hunting, was that the tiefling that you kept talking about?
Yeah, the white tiefling. That
Oh,
was...
you were after the teeth.
Yeah, don't you remember?
He's not white though.
Is it
He's
purple?
red.
Red? I gotta go.
It's a red
Red equals
tiefling.
bad juju.
It's a red tiefling. I guarantee you, it's a red tiefling.
Anyways, just for the sake of time,
Yeah, just for the sake of time.
back to Prof Mac for. Do we want to stay in episode 13 or do we just want to move to 14?
Well, we're gonna be doing that in a separate.
Yeah.
recording.
Oh, yeah, true. So.
Yep. Yeah. So.
I thought it was
Prof Mac,
purple.
Christian.
Trust
Yes.
whatever I gave you in your notes.
When it comes to Kizak creating the potions,
Mm-hmm.
because he did it in the middle of battle. So I have to see if I can read my own writing here. How do you see Kizak in the middle of battle? I said because he seemed to be helpful while fighting, but he was so like focused on making the potions. So I was curious, do you see yourself similar when it comes to fighting with or fighting for people? Because I've noticed that in Kizak and even with Klaus sometimes his first action is to create things that help other people in battle versus jumping to do something first right away. So I was just curious of like, do you feel like you see that in yourself? So moving a little bit away from the character of like, you are willing to fight for people or fight like if you're fighting for a reason, but your first instinct is like do all that you can to like help others, and then you'll jump in.
That's a good question. Wow, that went really deep, really quickly. Honestly, I don't know. Kind of thinking through it, when I was a kid, like every kid, I always wanted, the power fantasy of being the strongest hitter, being all of that. As I grew up, nowadays, when it comes to any game, especially D&D, I enjoy being a support character, because I know my natural tendency is to want to be in the spotlight, and I don't want to do that. And unfortunately, I'm very prone to just kind of like push myself into the spotlight because I love RPing, because I think I've created the greatest character ever, and all that. But in the way that I want to play, I want to help other people shine. I want to help other people be in the spotlight, because if I'm only going to be stealing it, the show's not going to be interesting. So that's why I love moments when Adra and Vitoka are talking to each other. I love moments when we finally find out a little more about Bran. Because this is a collaboration. This is something that we're doing together, and this is something that I really want everybody, all of us, to tell a story, and maybe sometimes we need to help each other with that.
Yeah.
Or always. And going more towards like life, the more I grow up, the more I quote unquote mature, which don't think that's ever gonna happen. But, being married, being in a different country, having a little bit of time on my belt over the average student here, I'm seeing myself become more of a support character. Someone who is there to be there for people.
Yeah.
I know my wife, I love her. Love you, Katya. I know you're not listening to this anyway. She can always rely on me. Any of my friends are always welcome to rely on me. I'm not usually one to reach out, but if I know someone needs help, I am always there. And so that kind of probably seeps into the way that I play, because I always kind of default into support characters or enchantresses or whatever. I like doing cool things, and I like doing cool things so that other people can do cool things as well.
Yeah. Cool. That's cool. I like it.
Very nice. Kent?
Gosh.
Sorry.
We're
welcome.
what
Episode
episode?
13.
We're on 13 now? Oh gosh.
We've been on 13 for a while.
Oh wait, yeah,
Jump.
sorry. I'm 13, 14 different episodes. My
Yes.
brain.
Well, we gave them
14
different
is a
numbers for a
completely
reason.
different episode.
Yes, for don't do that to me.
Y'all, it's the end of the week. The brains are working slow. It's fine.
Yeah, it's true. So much homework. Oh gosh, I
3
ran out
hours
of
of
questions for this.
Oh,
It's okay.
then you don't have to ask.
Oh, okay. Well then, yeah.
There's no pressure.
I'll hold my action.
This is not gameplay. It's
Yes.
just questions, not race.
Listen, we rolled initiative. It is officially D&D game.
I
Okay.
am actually going to hold my action because this one's a stupid one and I want to end on it.
I don't have a question, so
Rach.
I relinquish.
Reese, you seem to be having a great time attacking
Oh, yeah.
people,
Yes.
mainly traumatizing them from doorways. What is your inspiration behind the black tentacle?
Wait, what?
Oh, the black tentacle that sprung out of the thing? That was a wild magic surge.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just on his table.
Yeah, it's on the table. The table's massive.
400.
I will do
I
this now
can't see
because
this. I'm not here for gameplay, so I have no clue what you guys are up to.
Can I just say
So, yes.
the touching of the case to initiate the monster
Yes.
just made me so bad.
Yeah, I totally didn't think about it.
It was one of those where I was like, they have cleared out this dungeon and all of a sudden there's a secret room. Like, Audra is on high alert, and then these two jokers just walk in, and it was like, of course.
These two?
Yeah,
no.
These
Kizak
two.
and
'Cause,
Brand.
like, neither of us had been in the dungeon
there
when
was
it was
zero
dangerous. We're like,
experience,
what
and
else?
Audra's like, what are we doing?
If
Whatever.
Bran hadn't touched the case, Kizak totally would have.
Yeah, I knew, I was trying my best.
Because Kizak is fascinated with everything mechanical and arcane. It's just, it was bound to happen.
I knew it was gonna happen, but I was trying my best to like logically make something happen, and then it was so
Okay,
funny to me.
so this is the one that he rolled. It's 1d8 black cold tentacles sprout out of the target's body, dealing them 1d4 necrotic damage for each tentacle on subsequent turns. The target can use all the tentacles as a bonus action to make one unarmed strike. Alternatively, they can choose to deal no damage grappling on a hit, which is what it did to you. And then the tentacles disappear after 1 minute, dealing the target 1d4 necrotic damage, but you killed it before they vanish.
I was
So
hoping
there
this
could
was
have
a
been
lot
8 of
more.
those things?
Yep.
Yes, I rolled a 1.
That's
That's
crazy.
lucky.
So,
That's beautiful.
Ooh.
and it had 5 arms to begin with, and it could make an attack with all 5 of those arms, and then it could use all of its tentacles as a bonus action for the unarmed strikes. And so if I had rolled an 8, it would do 13 attacks in a turn.
Oh my
gosh.
gosh.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, but like there, let's roll a wild magic just so you guys can see. This is how chaotic
6.
things are.
8.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, this one you guys wouldn't know for a little while, but each dog within the 1 mile of the caster is turned into a small horse of the same size. Like,
Amazing.
That is awesome. Can you imagine if you
Again,
were fighting in a dog
Episode
kennel?
28.
yeah.
Let's just
But so
leave it
When
at
the
that.
folks get there.
But so like the wild magic table is my wild magic table. Again, I think I mentioned this at some point, but I did give credit to the fact that like 90% of these are things that I got from an Instagram called Wild Magic Surge that puts out like a daily wild magic surge.
Are you serious?
Yes.
A daily one?
And
Oh,
so I
no.
went through and I put all of their posts into this thing, and it still wasn't enough. And so then I went through and I went to a bunch of other websites and I literally just looked up homebrew wild magic table and then copied it. So that was, yeah. So you guys having fun sorting out that necklace over there?
Yes. Sorry, folks.
This is why we can't have cameras. Even get rid of
No,
them.
this is why we need the camera.
So the folks know that it took 2 people to untangle my necklace.
Necklaces are a pain.
They
That's
really
why
are.
we're one.
I'm trying a new thing, folks.
Your sister styling you?
Yes. To not look like a bum. And that includes...
Can we
Wearing
get Teddy
jewelry.
some cute
Hey,
outfits?
the hobo look
Yes.
is a legitimate look.
It
And
is.
you
I have
pull
been
it off well.
That's what I've
Said
been
the
told.
security guard who works nights.
Oh,
Your,
I also
opi-
bring
your
up pastries
opinion
for
on
my
looks
job.
is not very valid.
But look, see, I bring the homeless guy food at night. Because when I get back,
That
I'm
is
like,
very
oh, hey,
true.
Reese.
That
I
is
almost
very
called you
true.
Reese. Sorry, Reese.
Oh my goodness.
It's okay. Reese and I are basically the same person.
honestly. Yeah, but...
I work with a bunch of Reese's.
But
Pray
yeah,
for
so
me.
no, there was really no.
There are 3 of us.
There was no inspiration behind the Black Tentacle. That was fully just the Wild Magic Table doing what the Wild Magic Table does.
I was really
Chaos.
hoping there'd be a better story behind that.
I wish
So-
there was.
On that note,
Reese really
I-
likes Japanese cinema.
I held my action.
Yes.
I'd like to use my reaction to ask my final question.
Oh
just
my
do
gosh.
it.
Kizak,
Oh no.
why?
What?
Why did you cover your hands in the goo
Yes.
and then start
Oh.
playing
There
with
is
the ash and then just like...
There's actually a really good reason behind it.
Why did you do it?
Because I didn't want Kizak to take the gloves.
Oh.
First off.
So
Because
he would
I
have
knew that he wouldn't be there next.
That wasn't me.
So sorry, my wife is calling me.
Can I answer?
No. I knew that he wasn't going to be there next session, and I didn't want him. I mean, the selfish part of me wanted him to take them so that Ada doesn't have them to use them against Klaus. But on the other hand, I knew that you put them in there so that Adra would have
I mean,
a magic
it wasn't,
item.
It wasn't necessarily for Adra. That was actually, I had just come up with those like 3 days prior, and I was like, what am I putting in here? And I have a lot of stuff that like I enjoy breaking the rules of D&D and finding ways to put mechanics to that. Like what I was talking to Kent about this summer. But one of the things that I do when creating new, like I've got 46 homebrewed subclasses, 5 homebrewed classes, and then a bunch of racial options and spells and feats. And one of the things that I've found is a really helpful way to think about how to create class features is literally just saying, this character is allowed to break the rules in these ways. That's really all class features are. Is they're saying here are the core rules, and here's how your character is allowed to break the rules. And so, like, one of the things that we haven't really seen, in my opinion, is the ability to look at someone else's spell and say, "That's mine now."
Yep.
No, you don't get to do that.
Yeah.
And so
The reason I thought that they were for Adra was because they were like literally tailored to her. Intelligence caster, 3 spells,
yeah,
spell hacking.
well, 3
So it
spells could
was-
have applied to you as well.
Yes, but then again, you knew at that point that Kizak was not coming back.
I know, but I was also totally open to Kizak taking the gloves because they
Yeah.
were very much designed for like an artificer.
Yeah, and I just didn't want to. Again,
Like,
I didn't want to
visually.
hog it all to myself.
Yeah, no, totally.
Yeah.
So I
You're a smart
plus
class.
Kizak loves arcane things and he loves mechanical things.
Yes.
Seeing that happen right in front of him, he just wanted to get his hands in it.
Yeah.
That's
Totally.
so funny.
And
Yeah.
he's intelligent, but he's clumsy. He's a little ditzy sometimes. So
My favorite part was just you, like,
sitting there.
we kept talking, and then you just kept, like, rubbing your hands together as though you were actually playing with it. Like, though, it reminds me of, there was this one scene in Campaign 1 of Critical Role where one of the guests comes in, the character Gurn Blanston, where if you watch the actual live thing, what happens is his character's outroed, and then the actor just stands up and, like he said, his character just goes away and starts picking up things off the ground. And the actor sat there for like 5 minutes and then stood up and then just started walking around the set collecting things.
Yep.
Like, fully picked up a light bulb and shouted, "Did anyone lose an arb?" And like, it was
hilarious.
It was the
Amazing.
funniest thing, and every once in a while I'll go back and just watch it because it's hilarious. And so just seeing you doing that, like, it was, when I listened to it back, I was like, I couldn't see or hear anything else. It was just you playing with it.
Yep.
This is why
I was
cameras are
so
going to be
true.
helpful because
I
we're
was-
fairly physical as
Yeah.
we play, and so.
Oh yeah.
I was fully in character. I mean, when we were
When do you
ascending,
not?
when we were ascending Kuza's tower and tensions were high, I was legitimately angry. Not
Oh yeah. No, you told me once after a session, you were like, "Dude, I am angry."
yeah, but that's not because of anything that was happening. I was just
Yeah.
So
in character
Yep.
Yeah.
that I was pissed off.
Yeah.
And I was ready to like pounce at Kent.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well.
On that note,
Yeah.
We rode the elevator down together every time after this.
thank you for joining us for this episode of Moody&D Gone Rogue. You can listen to the rest of the Moody&D network on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Don't forget to follow the Moody&D on Instagram. Messed that up.
Follow the Moody&D on Instagram. Just pick
Follow
that.
us on Instagram with the @ the Moody-N-D.
Those are underscores, not dashes.
Underscores, yeah. You're doing great.
Keep
Rachel.
going.
We
Keep
love
it
you.
PG-13, right?
I don't want to be next to him.
PG-13, Rachel.
You have to be next to me.
I am!
PG.
Don't forget to follow us on Instagram with the @ Moody_N_D. While you're there, visit our Gone Rogue story highlight and drop some questions you would like for us to answer. Do not say a word, Reese. Once again, I'm your host, Rachel Sanders, and I will see you later.
I do have to
See
butt
you guys.
in. So, no, I do have to butt in because I have to make an announcement regarding the highlight.
Okay, Reese, make your
So with the highlight, you actually can't like type it into the little text box that's part of the story for whatever reason that's immense, and you can't submit new things. So just send a message through that particular highlight to the Moody&D channel, and then we'll know yada 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 that you're sending a
Awesome.
question for Gone Rogue.
Please send us questions. We love you.
Yeah.
Bye.